Good morning, everybody. Glad to have you here today. If you want to follow along, we'll be back in the 16th chapter of the book of Acts, beginning in verse 35, as you're finding that. If you would, like, share, and or comment on the post, and we will finish up this story of Paul and Silas and the jailer and the earthquake with an interesting ending. Verse 35 says, when it was day, the magistrates sent the police, saying, let those men go. So the judges, the rulers, send someone else to send other officers and tell the jailer to turn them loose. The jailer, verse 36 says, reported these words to Paul, saying, the magistrates have sent to let you go. Therefore, come out now and go in peace. Well, they get the message. Verse 37, Paul said to them, they have beaten us publicly, uncondemned men who are Roman citizens, and have thrown us into prisons. And do they now throw us out secretly? No. Let them come themselves and take us out. So Paul says, nuh-uh. Says, you embarrassed us, you made a big deal, big show out of putting us in jail, and now you think we're going to sneak out the back door and let that be done. So the police report these words to the magistrates, and they were afraid when they heard that they were Roman citizens. So they came and apologized to them, and they took them out and asked them to leave the city. So they went out of the prison and visited Lydia. When they had seen the brothers, they encouraged them and departed. Pretty straightforward story that we have here, but a couple just observations, I guess, that I want to make as we look at this. First of all, one of them is, again, Paul's concern for their reputation in the city. He didn't want the cities to think, the people of the city to think that they were somehow maybe even still in jail. If they snuck them out the back door, the people who saw them go into jail may think that they are still there and think that they were guilty. And so Paul's concerned about, again, their reputation, but most of all, I think he's concerned about the reputation of God and what people might say about the Lord. And I think that's an important reminder for us and lesson for us today. Is I think you are probably aware of the opinion that many in our society have of Christianity, of Christ. And it's very important, I think, for us to be very cautious and careful with that reputation, that we don't do anything to damage the reputation. Again, the world already has a very, generally speaking, I think, has a very general low opinion of Christians, of Christianity, of church, of Christ. And so it is extremely important for us to be careful in how we act and what we say, what we do, that we don't give them any evidence, any ammunition to say, well, see, we told you, that we're very careful in that. The other thing that I notice about this is, again, all of this goes back. If you think about it, it all goes back to when they went into jail and they were there. The Bible tells us in verse 25 that they were praying and singing. The prisoners were listening to them, no doubt the guards as well. When the earthquake came and shook the prison and shook off their bonds and opened the doors, and they decided that they wouldn't flee. They stayed. And then ultimately the jailer, you remember the story now, the jailer comes in, he accepts Christ, his family accepts Christ. And I think what we see here is, we talked yesterday about the results of salvation, what that salvation did, what having Christ in you does for the person who is saved. Here we see, I guess you'd say, maybe the effects of salvation, of a walk with the Lord, how it affects others. The magistrates now are stricken with guilt. They're ashamed of what they have done. Paul and Silas have been vindicated. The reputation of Christianity has remained clear, and so they are. Again, just the impact of a believer. And then the last thing I want you to notice in this story is before they leave, they encourage the brothers. Isn't that interesting that the people the convicts are encouraging other people? I think that's really a real reminder and a challenge for us in the world we live in. We live in a world that is hard. We live in a world that is discouraging, to use the biblical phrase, where there are wars and rumors of wars. And people are downtrodden and discouraged. This time of year is very hard for many people. And that we be like Paul and Silas here, that even though we've had, believers have it hard as well. Believers have a hard time making ends meet, have a hard time in this society. But let's be an encouraging people. Let's be encouraging this Christmas season to other people. Let's share with them the love of Christ. Let's get Christ out of the nativity scene, out off the front yard, and into the public forum, into our lifestyle, and be encouragers for others, that they would see Christ at work in us like these people saw in Paul and Silas. Think about it today, and we'll see you here tomorrow morning.